I feel like we treat each job like it's our own home.
And you told him, fix it.
We're bonused on 5-star reviews.
We're going to stand behind our product.
Yeah.
We're going to do what's right, even if it costs us money. All right, so hey, my name's Justin Hamilton. I'm the sales manager here at Near Me Roofing, and I'm here with Ethan today. He is our production manager, which means Ethan and his team are the team that build all of our roofs. They handle the scheduling. They handle material delivery, material handling, pretty much building that job from start to finish. So in a lot of roofing companies, the salesperson goes out, does their inspection, handles that insurance process, but the salesperson is also the person who's managing that build. They're measuring it, they're ordering materials, they're there the day of the build, they're managing the crew, they're doing a lot of those things, which for the most part is not usually their specialty. So here at Near Me Roofing, we kind of made the conscious decision to let people do what they're good at. We let our sales guys go out and handle that inspection, that insurance process, taking care of the homeowner, getting them to that point where it's ready to be built. And then we believe that we should hand that job off to the professionals like Ethan and his guys. So I'm going to sit down here with Ethan today and ask, we're going to talk, have some questions, and kind of hopefully be able to fill you guys in on what that looks like after, once you guys are on the schedule, where your project goes and how it gets handled from there. So Ethan, let's start off by maybe just kind of describing what your normal day looks like as a production manager.
So every day obviously looks a little different,
Sure.
But most builds are starting around 6:30, 7 o'clock. We're doing usually one build a day, but the build itself, the preparation for it, starts usually 2 weeks ahead of time. So when that job is sold and approved, we just started something, I guess, recently, probably a few months ago, where we created a production handoff sheet. And so on that, we've had the sales reps fill out every detail of the job, even small things like, are we keeping or removing the satellite? Because that's something, when I was the on-site supervisor, I'd be calling my boss at 6 o'clock, hey, we removing the satellite. Sure. And I know he wants to probably sleep a little bit.
I've gotten a lot of those calls too.
Yeah. So we do that, and I'll go through that with the homeowner ahead of time before build. We'll set a day for them. Usually materials will be delivered 2 to 3 days ahead of the build. So yeah, when those materials arrive 2 to 3 days ahead, I'll run through that whole list with the customer on that production sheet, like, hey, just confirming every detail.
So you're talking about during like your pre-call that you had. So Ethan has a pre-call with every homeowner, usually a week to, either a few days up to a week before the build, so that he can discuss all those details with the homeowner too.
Correct.
And the goal of that's communication. The last thing we want is something falling through the cracks or something like that, right?
Falling through the cracks that was sold to the homeowner. So I'm making sure, obviously, we make the company look good, but also make the sales rep look good, and something that they sold is getting built.
Sure. And making sure that we're meeting that expectation.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's really the name of the game, and why having that good handoff matters, I think, is we don't want there to be a disconnect between the conversations that the sales rep had with the customer and what happens on build day. Absolutely. We want to make sure that, hey, if these are the things the sales rep talked to the customer about, promised the customer, put into the deal, that we honor those agreements all the way through. So how often would you say that sales and production communicates?
That's very often. I feel like
yeah.
I'm talking to sales guys sometimes more than the production team.
Sure.
But we stay in constant communication, especially if it's a day before their build. I'll usually talk to them if there's any extra questions or anything that even I missed on the pre-call that the homeowner just didn't mention. Like maybe they got flower beds that we're needing to be super careful around that they didn't mention, but the sales guy had that conversation. And so we'll put up our catch-all net on those jobs and be very careful around the homeowner's house, because I feel like we treat each job like it's our own home. That's how I relay it to our production team, is like, treat this like this is your house. Like we clean up good, make everything look good, and that's one of our big core values on
Well,
our side.
and I would say that even though we have systems and processes in place, we don't treat every house the same.
Absolutely.
We treat every homeowner's house the way that they want their house to be
Absolutely.
treated. We kind of try to tailor fit that to them. Would you say that part of this new process helps us, like as far as supplementing goes? Or it seems like now that we're doing this process, and usually when one of my guys submits a job, I'm reviewing it before I approve it, and then they complete that production handoff sheet, and then it goes to you. I feel like that process helps us catch more items that maybe insurance left off. I mean, would you agree with that?
I would agree. It's really we've got it down to a system where I know ahead of time to let my guys know, hey, insurance is leaving off. Starter's very common, drip edge, and so they'll pay for it if it's pre-existing on the house. So I can really hone in on my guys, be like, hey, I need pictures of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, so that
to
we
make
can
sure
go back
and get insurance paid for it,
Sure.
and so it's not coming out of the homeowner's pocket, and we're still delivering that quality across the board.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So once we've got 8 or 10 guys out there every day meeting with homeowners and lining up homes for you guys in production. When it comes to scheduling those jobs, what does that process looks like, and how do you prioritize, and how do you figure out who's getting done when, and those kind of things?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of the times it's usually by the day they were contracted. So if someone has been contracted for another job, I'm going to try and prioritize that and get that on the schedule, because we ideally from the day it's signed and contracted, if we're not waiting on anything insurance wise,
Sure.
I want to get that built within 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's our goal.
That's
on
kind
production.
of our goal. Yeah.
And as a goal as a company. So if it's contracted, I like to have it done within 2 weeks, and I always kind of look at it and see how big the job is. If it's going to be really like a cut up house or really steep, where it's at, and sometimes I'll allot 2 days, but a lot of our jobs are done in just one day.
Probably
I'd say 85%.
Yeah, 85-90% of them were in and out in a day.
Yep.
What would you say is the most common miscommunication that we were having before we went to our newest process? Like, what were the things that you felt like would hold up a job, or would on the day of the build, like you said, you were getting phone calls at 6 o'clock in the morning asking about satellites or anything like that? Are there other items that you felt like were pretty common miscommunications before that?
I think a big one before we really had that production handoff sheet and that clean transfer was like shingle colors and like stuff like
Always
that.
having to call them.
Well, call the not the homeowner, but the sales rep. Like, they wouldn't put it on the contract, and it'd be in a note from 2-3 weeks ago that is buried with all these other notes. And it's like, oh, we could have had that ordered and built by now if I
just knew what color.
Yeah, just knew what color. Yeah, I thought we were waiting on the color, but
yeah.
So small things like that have really smoothed out the process, I think. And
well, and I feel like it saves us a lot of unnecessary trips. We got to this job site and we forgot to put this in the van or that in the van, and so we were able to, instead of having that job site supervisor who's there supervising the crew have to leave and come back to the shop to get item A, B, or C, we're able to be prepared for pretty much whatever on the front end, and we've been able to lessen those extra trips, I think.
I think that's a huge part too we really touched on, is the job site supervisor. And I know you talked about it at the beginning, but a lot of times other companies will have their sales guy on the job site, and man, when they're taking phone calls from other customers trying to get estimates done in their truck during a build, things can get missed and things can get overlooked. Whereas we have a dedicated job site supervisor. His job every day is to ensure the quality of the build and the quality of the crew. And we've been using our crew for 3 or 4 years, so we're not just throwing randoms up on a roof from Home Depot. And
so you said something else there that caught my ear, talking about the quality. And so one thing that a lot of roofing companies, their sales reps operate on a profit split. So when the sales rep is supervising that job, the more money they can save on build day, the more money goes in their pocket at the end of the day. Where our guys operate on a flat commission, that's not how they get paid. But when you talked about quality a minute ago, it made me think about how our project manager and our production manager bonus. So tell us a little bit about how you guys on your side. I feel like in a lot of companies, the production side would probably bonus that same way by keeping costs low and making more money. But tell us about how you guys get paid here.
So it's honestly kind of the opposite in a way.
Sure.
So we're bonused on 5-star reviews, and so ensuring the process the whole way through, from that pre-call and materials being delivered to final cleanup and final inspection with the homeowner, which is something we do. We just walk around the property after every job.
Sure.
But we're incentivized to make sure that they're happy, and sometimes even if it means we lose a little money or our margin goes down a little bit, we're making sure the homeowner's happy.
Sure.
And obviously it's a different scenario for every roof, but that's something I know we've had lots of conversations about day of build. It's like, man, the homeowner's really wanting this. Like, are we able to do this without going flat on it? And
well, and at the end of the day, we want to err on the side of taking care of our homeowners, and I feel like Near Me Roofing paying you guys in production, instead of based on pinching pennies, paying you based on customer satisfaction, is kind of the definition of putting your money where your mouth is. When we say that we provide a 5-star experience, I think that's kind of, that backs up what we're saying and just reinforces it. Because at the end of the day, you're not getting beat up if the margin goes down or if we spend a little bit more money than we should have or whatever, because at the end of the day, that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to get the job built properly, and for the homeowner to have a 5-star experience, start to finish.
Absolutely.
As far as working with me as the sales manager and working with sales reps, what are some characteristics that you would say make a salesperson easy to work with?
Lots of pictures.
Yeah, sure.
Lots of pictures.
A good first inspection for sure.
Is always a big one. Even if they're not the most communicative over the phone, if they got 200 pictures in company cam, I can figure out a lot just from context clues.
Sure. I tell the guys that once you think you have enough pictures, take about 50 more.
Yeah.
So, sure.
But clear expectations of what the homeowner is expecting. And obviously they're expecting a great 5-star experience, like you're saying.
Sure.
But all the little things, if I know what exactly they're wanting and when they're wanting it done, what days, sometimes certain days don't work for certain homeowners, but if I know all that ahead of time, it makes my job super, super easy, honestly.
Sure.
If we're working as a team instead of being a pulling back and forth, there's always a little give and take between sales and production. And if we're working as a team, not against each other as two different departments.
Sure. So you were talking about cleanup a minute ago. I know. So part of having a job site supervisor on the job doesn't just affect the quality of the build, but it really affects that job site cleanup. So talk to us a little bit about what that process looks like, even during the build, once the build's complete. Kind of tell me how that looks.
So honestly, the messiest part is the start of the day, that tear off, especially when there's extra layers of felt on the roof. There's a lot coming off, and we have our equipter that we use, which they can just scoop trash off into the equipter and we dump it in our dump trailer. But even during tear off, we'll have a few guys on the roof and then getting pictures with our job site supervisor up there. Plus he'll come back down and 1 or 2 other people will be cleaning up that whole time.
Yeah.
As well as having the tarps up, keeping everything safe and clean. And then during the shingling part, once the big mess is cleaned up from that initial tear off, our job site guy is going around with a nail magnet the whole time and also picking up the trash from the shingle wrap, which is usually the big trash. But that's something I really let our job site guy know and our crew know. This has to be a clean house, because if anyone's walking by and it looks like a disaster, we look like a disaster company.
Sure. And if we're taking good care of that, we're not just taking good care of that homeowner, but everything we do on a job site is a reflection of our company, not just to that homeowner, but to all the homeowners in that neighborhood. The last thing we want is something blowing down the street and ended up in the neighbor's bushes, or honestly, we we want the homeowners in that neighborhood to go by and look at our job sites and say, hey, that's a company that knows what they're doing and then taking care of business.
And I want them, like at any point of the process, to be able to walk out their front door and not being worried about a nail getting in their foot.
Yeah.
And pulling their car into their driveway without a tire being popped.
Sure.
That's a huge thing for me. And like you said, I don't know what the numbers are, but this is a big referral business.
Mm-hmm.
And so referrals are a huge thing for us. And so we want to leave every customer with a good taste in their mouth, and that they'll tell their friends and family to use Near Me Roofing.
Well, and that's kind of like when we say we want them to have a 5-star experience, but when we say that, I think 5-star experience also translates into like referral worthy experience, right? I mean, you're not going to refer somebody that you're not 100% confident in is going to take care of business. So can you share a time or a project you feel like where the teamwork between sales and I call it operations because I'm an old property management guy, where sales and production, kind of the teamwork between sales and production ended up making all the difference?
Yeah, I think one that sticks out to me is a job up in Old Washington. It was a storm job and super pretty house, like a historical house. This guy takes a lot of pride in his home, and just started out as a roof, and he was needing a part on the back reframe because it was a little different, it looked kind of a little wonky.
An addition that they had made after the house was built.
Yep, and so it was needing to be transitioned a little better, and he was just needing some help with that. And you and I kind of coordinated getting our framing guy down there, getting that fixed, and then we put a good roof on. And he was super happy throughout that whole process that he ended up coming back to us and was wanting all the siding to be redone on his house, his whole house to be painted, and then we'll be adding copper gutters as well.
Sure.
And so we kind of worked in tandem to
I feel like
keep adding on to that.
Yeah. So that job was an insurance job to start off with, and with that house being the age it is and being in a historic district, at some point somebody had added that back room porch. It's kind of a combination of a porch and a back room on, and whoever framed it didn't really tie it into the house properly. And you guys did such a great job with getting it reframed so that the roof line matched properly and re-roofed. I mean, it looked seamless. It looked like it was there all along. That really kind of gave him confidence in us that he came back and at that point wanted us to, when they made that addition too, they had just put, modern, I say modern, it was still probably 40 years old, but it didn't match the historic siding of that home. So he gave him the confidence to say, hey, can you guys do this siding work to tie it in and make it match the historic part of the home, and then paint it all so that it matches, and then knock the gutters out for me too. I don't think that, I mean, it practically doubled the size of that job. And we were able to finance the different, insurance paid for the roof. We were able to provide financing for the framing work and the siding work and the gutters and all of those things for him. But, without you guys going in there and handling business properly on that first half of that project, we would have never had the opportunity to do that second part of the project.
And I think one more point on that, having reputable subs that you use, like for the framing and the siding, that homeowner knew the same person who reframed and did a great job on that back portion, I want them to come out and do the siding as well.
Sure, yeah.
And so having that peace of mind that it's not another Joe Schmo who doesn't care about the house and know their house already is going to be working on it and is going to take care of it.
Yeah, we put together a really great team of people that we use for everything from framing and siding to interior work. We got a great team of interior guys. I feel like it's an ebb and flow back and forth because you guys don't have work unless we're out lining up jobs for you, but you guys do such a good job on the production side that it makes it easier for us to go out and confidently sell jobs and line up the work. I don't feel like, you guys couldn't do what you do without us, but we probably couldn't do what we do as well as we do without you guys doing such a great job to back us up. Just a funny question here, just to kind of lighten the mood. If you could write down a wish list of things that you could get out of our sales guys, what what would be on your wish list?
Oh man, that's a good one. Go back to lots of pictures again. That's up there.
That's easy. You
Yeah.
think it'd be easy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Lots of notes. I've never, either on paper or in our system, I've never been like, oh, this guy's just blowing me up with notes.
Sure.
Like, oh, that's aggravating. I can never have too many notes to go
Sure.
off of.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really like when the sales guy will reach out to me the day before their build, and sales guy or saleswoman in our case,
Sure, yeah.
and just reach out to me the day before build, be like, hey, y'all got stuff for the chimney to be replaced, the new drip edge, like make sure everything that we
Just
talked
give
about.
it a once over, yeah.
Yep, and it helps keep me accountable, and because I'm not perfect, things
Sure.
do fall through the cracks, but it helps when they're holding me accountable as well, and it is kind of a back and forth. It is a teamwork,
Sure.
so that would be up there for me for sure. I guess let me flip it on you. What on the sales side
Yeah.
do y'all like from production or
Well,
like having?
so I feel like salespeople. I almost said salespeople naturally have ADHD, but I think it's the opposite. I think people with ADHD naturally gravitate to sales. So I mean, there's probably some things on their wish list that are not necessarily reasonable, but I feel like good communication is one of those things which you do well. We do very well. I mean, if everybody had it their way, they'd be able to pick the day they're building their job, and
Yeah.
they'd be able to do all these other things. But I think the most important things is just managing homeowners' expectations. And at the end of the day, we have a great team of salespeople, and they care about their integrity, and they care about the company's integrity.
Absolutely.
And I think that all of our biggest wish should be that our production side shares that same mentality, and I think you do. So I don't think we have a wish list per se on that kind of stuff, other than the silly stuff like, hey, I wish I could say I want it done at this day, and I wish I could say it would only take 5 hours, and I wish, those kind of things. But overall, I mean, I feel like we do a pretty great job at those things. If there's one thing that, like one tidbit of information, or one thing that homeowners who watch this podcast would remember or know about the production process, what would you like that to be?
Here at Near Me, I think we care about your home. We want to make sure we do put a quality product and quality workmanship into your home. And that's something I'm proud of. Like if I'm driving by with my wife and I see one of the roofs we put on, I'm like, hey baby, we put that roof on. Like
Sure.
I'm proud
I do the same thing.
of our work.
My kids are
Absolutely.
tired of hearing about it.
Yeah. I'll send a picture and put it in my family group chat. Be like, hey, we built this today. Like
Yeah.
here in Texarkana, if you see it, like that's our work. And so
Yeah.
I think a company that stands behind their work is a company you should want to work for you. So,
Hey, I agree with that wholeheartedly. One thing I know that I said we were finishing up, but something that stuck out to me last week, and you and I were talking about, is our job site supervisor called you on a job. He had ran into some hiccups that potentially could increase the cost of that build. And I remember hearing you on the phone with him, and you told him, fix it, and he was worried about the cost and passing on to the homeowner. But at the end of the day, you're like, well, it's the right way to do it. It's the right way to build that roof. So your job is to make sure it's built right. It's my job to worry about those things. And that stood out to me, because it wasn't like, well, let me call the homeowner and make sure they can afford to pay another $500. It was, we're going to do it right. And if the homeowner can't afford to pay the $500, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Because at the end of the day, we want to put a product on that we're proud of, that we can stand behind.
absolutely.
Another example, last week, you and I went to Nashville to look at a job that didn't go as planned. It was a commercial job, and the business owner was a little frustrated with us. And so you and we dropped everything. We drove down there to meet with him in person. And while we were there, I mean, we looked at it, and we were kind of talking about it on the roof. And I pulled out my phone and I called Chad, our owner, and I said, hey, Chad, I was like, I I'm not happy with this work either. Ethan's not happy with his work either. We're going to lose money on this deal, but I feel like we should just redo the entire job. And right then and there, without any conversation, Chad's like, okay, tell Ethan to make it happen. You know, and at the end of the day, I feel like as a sales professional and leading a team of salespeople, it's important for my guys to be able to go out and say with conviction if we're going to stand behind our product.
Yeah.
We're going to do what's right, even if it costs us money. I mean, at this point, you know, we just, you know, once that job's redone, we just paid that guy thousands of dollars to roof his building for him. But at the end of the day, we're going to make sure that he's happy with it, you know, and that it's done right, and that we did the right thing by the customer.
And I think that's something where you and I work well together, where I'm sure it is for you, but I know for me, it irritates me if we would have done something halfway.
Oh, yeah.
And just cutting the corner like that, that bothers me to no end.
At the end of the day, it's my name on the line.
Absolutely.
It's your name on the line. It's Chad's name on the line. You know, like I have 4 boys at home that I'm raising, and the last thing I ever want to do is set them up so that at some point in the future, say 20 years down the road, I never want to set one of my boys up to somebody and say, hey, you see that guy over there? 20 years ago, his dad did me wrong, or his dad did this or that. You know, like that is not the legacy I want to leave for my family or for anybody here's family, you know.
And that's actually the conversation you had with me that convinced me to come on and work here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that conversation we had a while back, but when you told me that, I was like, that's somewhere I want to work.
Yeah.
That's something I want to be a part of, and I'll do it with conviction, and we're going to do it right. And I don't want any corners cut, because if it was my home, I wouldn't want to be.
Sure.
I mean, I wouldn't appreciate that.
Exactly. So, hey, Ethan, I appreciate you sitting down. I know you got a busy schedule, but I really enjoyed, you know, visiting with you today and kind of getting your take on things. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap it up for today?
First of all, I want to thank God for putting me in this opportunity to work at this company. I want to thank the homeowners that trust us every day to go out on their roof and put a quality product on. I want to thank y'all and your sales team for keeping us busy.
Yeah.
I want to thank, obviously, Chad and Jessica for just creating this work environment where we all work as a team and we really do quality work and do the best for what the homeowner does. But without the customers, we don't have a business. So
Sure.
I think just having them is huge. So thanking each one and every future customer. Like we're excited to work for you.
Well, thank you, Ethan. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate all your hard work. All right.